Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode, actually 19 of More Than a Statistic. My name is Justin Griffin. Got 11 years clean, and we're a lot of things, but today I'm going to say we're blessed. This is my co-host sitting over here.
I'm Michael, grateful believer and recovered drug addict. Great to be here tonight. Glad to be sling-free tonight. No more brace, so, moving on.
Yep.
Great episode tonight. I'm excited to see what we uncover. Like Justin was saying, his past friends of his, so I'm excited to see the stories and see where we go tonight. So,
yeah, we brought her because you also remember her first show. She was in a brace too.
Yeah.
But one thing that we loved Tab's episode, and it got a lot of people watched Tab's episode. It was probably one of the most popular ones since us doing the show. And she's a special person. And when we started this, we had to come up with the idea of how are we going to be different than everything else that's out there. And one of the ideas was to not just have a first-person aspect of going about this, but also other people that have been alongside people as they've went through struggles and hardships. So we're bringing in family members of, you got to hear Tab's story. Now you're going to get to hear her story from a different seat, and I'm kind of interested and fascinated in this, and I think, that this is important. A lot of people said that these different perspectives they've not seen before, so it was important to us to keep this going, and we figured you know a lot of her story already. She's been on a couple of times, so we'll use her family now and let Becky kind of just tell her part and share what she wants to share.
I am Becky Lane. I am Tab's oldest sister. I pretty much have been there through it all. Tab, our parents divorced when we were young, and Tab she was closer to me in age, so we were always best friends growing up. One of us, we were always together. One of us got in trouble, the other got in trouble. That's just the way life was. And at 15, 16, Tab started running with the wrong people, and she started smoking pot. I had just got married. I got married at 17. I had my daughter when I was 18, and I'm originally from Washburn. If you're very familiar, it's a very small town. We had, I think, 32 in my high school graduating class, and not all of them even came for graduation. But when I got married, I moved here to Rutledge, and I have lived here ever since. My husband's from here. And I got a phone call from Tab. I hadn't been married very long. And she called and said she was coming to my house. She needed to talk to me. And I've always kind of been the go-to. She come to tell me that she was gay. She was with a woman, and in that same amount of time, she was also smoking pot. She never come out and told me that, but she never had to. I knew something was going on, and back then you didn't hear of like the drugs now. Right. You didn't hear the meth or people on pills or none of that. Pot was like a bad thing back then. It was rough. So, but I loved her regardless. I mean, we were raised in a home. My dad always taught us that you love everybody no matter what they're going through. It does not matter. You love the sinner, you hate the sin, and you pray for them. That's just the way life was. So I loved her regardless. I stuck by her. That's not something that I have ever raised my kids was okay. I have always taught my kids that lifestyle was not right according to the Bible, but I don't love you no different, and I don't treat you no different. And the same with the drugs. We watched her go through that. It started with the pot, and then it went to pills, and then she was clean for 10 roughly 10 years, and then it went to meth. And the pills, we always knew. You could tell her weight. When she was on pills, she would drop weight like nothing. And we always knew. You could kind of tell she was high. It was kind of different. I worked in pharmacy for years, and I could tell you people come in pretty much what they were on. If it was pills, by their actions, the way it affected them.
Just the actions.
Yeah, meth. I mean, you could always kind of tell what people were using. But when she got on meth, it was different. My cousin called me one night and she said, something's wrong with Tab. Like she's being crazy. She rented from my cousin at that time. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, like, she's just talking crazy. And we had kind of thought something was up, but we weren't really sure. So, I mean, I don't really know. I'll tell you, I'm a sinner on my best day. But if you have a relationship with God, He's not going to keep you in the dark about anything, especially when it comes to your loved ones. Tab went through.
Let me say something. Can I write fast? When she says that, I always say, even till today, my dad was that way. It didn't matter how hard you was trying to hide something. He knew. Always. And I said he'll never be gone until she's gone because she's just like him. Just like him.
I mean, when people talk about, I always said my dad knew things I did that only I knew that I did. But you're never alone. Listen, I mean, God knows, and I just had this conversation. I have a 17-year-old son and a 27-year-old daughter. My daughter has experienced this, and I just had a conversation with my son about 2 weeks ago. And I said, don't ever think you're hiding anything. Because when you have a relationship with God, He's, especially me as your mother, He's not going to keep me in the dark. If there's something, and I've got good kids, but they're just as liable to do anything as anybody else's kids. And I said, if you're going to do something and think nobody will find out, you better think twice. Because the Lord has showed me several things. Let me tell you, I cannot imagine, and I may face it tomorrow, having to go through drug addiction with one of my kids. Because it was so hard with her. So hard. I mean, I can't tell you the nights that I laid awake praying for God to keep her safe. Or, when she would get on them real bad, she would avoid us. So you couldn't call and check on her. There wasn't no Life 360. You just had to pray. I mean, that was all you had, was to depend on the Lord to watch over her and protect her. And it's just different. I mean, people see the drug addict, but the other side of the drug addict, it's hard. It really is. She could get high and forget her problems, but then it's what's on the other side, because my dad worried over. I'll never forget. My dad, back in my days when I worked in pharmacy, my dad owned his own business and he worked all over. South Knoxville, West Knoxville, he was all over. And Tab called me one day and said, can you call the bank and transfer some money to my account? She said, we're over here working in South Knoxville and I ain't got no money to eat lunch and I'm hungry. So my mind knew what she was doing with that money. But on the other side, you're thinking, what if she really is hungry? So it was like I would pray for the Lord to just intervene. I mean, this had happened. This had went on 20-something years we dealt with this. But I never turned my back on her. Oh, I wanted to so many times. But my heart just would not let me. And so I'd send her the money. And then at that time, we went to church close to where she lived. So she would call and say, we ain't got no drinks at the house. Will you send me some money so I can go get drinks? So I got to where when she would do that, I'd say, well, just meet me at such and such store after church and I'll buy you some drinks. So then she'd call and say, I don't have no gas. Can you send me some money so I can get gas? Well, my aunt owns a store that has gas. So they knew that I was good for it. So I'd call and say, can you let her come and get gas and I'll come pay you, So then it started slowing down and she wasn't asking as much. So my dad called me one day and he said, we've got to quit helping Tab. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, God woke me up in the middle of the night out of a dead sleep and told me that he's trying to get a point across to her and he can't do it because me and you are in the way. Because we were the two that always helped her. I mean, like, it didn't matter what she needed, we made sure that happened. So, because, and it's not that our other family didn't help her, they did, but, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not trying to sound like I did more than them, but it was like we were the go-tos. Like, we were the ones that she called the most, I guess, at that time, you know, for whatever.
Because
like,
I knew, basically, they had it.
Yeah.
You know, that
Yeah.
they would.
Yeah. And not that we're loaded by any means. I mean, you know, but if we didn't have it, we found a way because, you know, we didn't want her to do without either way. And then I lived over here. I married and had a family, and then she moved over here. And at that time, we lived it was a small trailer park. There was 2 trailers at the top and 2 trailers at the bottom. We lived in the top one, and she lived in the bottom one. And she was trying to get on her feet. You know, she hadn't been by herself very long. She had moved out, and so we both worked at the same company then. So when she would get her paycheck, she would bring her paycheck to me, and I would buy her a carton of cigarettes, fill her truck up with gas, and then pay whatever bills needed to be paid. If there was anything left over, she could have it. Most of the time there wasn't. So
She still does that.
I do.
Until this day.
So she needed a vehicle. Her vehicle had tore up. So I went to the bank and co-signed a loan for her to get a vehicle. She didn't have any credit. And so when she would come in and give me her money, I would give her her truck payment and say, you need to take this to the bank. And if they were closed, put it in the night deposit. So she would always come back and I'd say, did you bring me a receipt? No, they were closed, so I put it in the night deposit. So probably 2 months, I guess, had passed. And she had 2 to 3, she had supposed to been making payments. And I get a letter in the mail from the bank that says that they're going to come get her truck. Or it was a car, I think, at that time. And I was like, what? So she had been driving through. She'd drive through the drive-through. So she was on the camera. She thought she had this figured out.
Pull these little
So it
tricks.
looked like he was hitting it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But nothing was happening.
I thought I
So-
was slick, and I wasn't.
When I would-
Dramatic behavior
Yes.
right there.
So when I would come and ask her, she'd be like, no, tell them to pull their cameras. I went through the drive-through. I was like, you did, but nothing happened.
There's
you
no
know.
transaction.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
Now
just
that
driving
you
through
think
there.
back on it, you're like, oh
Yes.
gosh, did I really
Did I
do
really
that?
think I was that slick?
Yeah.
Yeah, you totally
Yeah, you
did.
did at the time.
In her mind, because she told me after she got clean, she said, I'm telling you, I mean, I don't care to tell you now some of the stupid, she said, I'm telling you, I did some of the stupidest stuff that I really should not be alive today.
Amen.
Yeah.
But, you know, like when you're dealing, you know, going through that stuff, you don't see it as much, I guess, then as you do after the fact. Like even now, she's been clean for almost 3 years.
2022.
Almost 4 years.
Yeah.
And I look back now at things that I was like, why did that not catch my eye? You know what I mean? Like I knew things were happening, but there was actually more happening than what I realized, I guess, you know. So
It's hard to accept to want to see all that.
It
probably,
really
too,
is.
You know,
Yes.
because like I've tried to see that from the other person's perspective.
Exactly.
And, you know, I feel like you get to a point where you kind of don't want to see it all. Like you
Exactly.
don't want to believe that it's really
I
as
think
bad
you're
as what it
just,
could be.
exactly. I think I mean,
We try to justify it.
you do.
Yeah.
You do in a way. But then at the same time, I think too, a lot of it I overlooked because God promised me years ago He would take care of that. I didn't know how, but I came to a point of there was so much worry that I went to God just wholeheartedly and said, you have to deal with this. I can't do this anymore. Me trying to fix it was making things worse. I am the sister, there's 3 of us girls, and I am the sister that if I think you're doing something wrong, or if God has showed me something, I'm going to come to you. I don't care if you get mad at me or not. I'm looking out for you. And I had that relationship with the Lord that he's come and showed me, I believe, to warn you. You know, so like, I'll never forget, after she had got on meth, she was living with somebody that was just not good for her at all. And listen, I mean to tell you, my dad said years ago, we'll find her dead. We'll find her dead one day because of the lifestyle she was living. I mean, I'll be the first to admit, I'm a woman and I'm crazy at times. I mean, and any woman that says they ain't, they're lying. I mean, I'm just going to tell you right now. So all she was dealing with was women, and she was in drugs. So, you know, it was a double-edged sword here. And so every time she would, not just women, but just friends in general that didn't need to be in her life, I would pray for God to move them. I mean, because I knew that was not of him. And it just made things worse. So the last one that lived with her for a while, I'll never forget. She ended up leaving, and I knew it. When Tab called me to tell me, I already knew it. I knew it. So she had been by her. God had showed me that he was going to put her by herself in order to reach her. That's where she needed to be. But Tab's not the person. Now she is. Now she wants to be by herself. But back then, she really couldn't be. Mentally, she couldn't be by herself. So she had been, I don't know, 3-4 months, I guess, had lived by herself. And I was pulling in the post office one day, and she called. She had worked all night, and she had just got up. She was still kind of sleepy, but she was bothered. I could tell it in her voice. And I said, she was telling me all the things that was going wrong. You know, she was working 80 hours a week, broke as a joke. She couldn't pay her. She was behind on her rent. She was behind on her car payment. Her lights was about to get cut off. Like, I mean to tell you, if it could happen in one person's life, and I don't just mean financially, I mean if it could happen, it was happening.
That's the day when I told y'all before that I stood up and said, Lord, I know why you're doing what you're doing, but can you give me a break? That's the day I called.
So she calls, and I sat and listened to her. She's going on about all this stuff. And I said, are you done? And she said, yeah. And I said, so how long are you going to hold on to all this? How long are you going to put yourself through everything that you've just sat here and told me that you're going through? Because that fast, God can take every bit of it. All he is doing is waiting on you. Mm-hmm. He's right there. He's never left you. He's standing right there waiting on you to say, okay, Lord, whatever your will is, I'm done. So it went on for quite some time after that, and we kept watching her. Like, we knew something was going on, but we didn't really see the effects of it until 2 weeks prior to getting her help. I don't know if her body had just, I don't know, like if she increased what she was using. Like, we knew something was up, but it got really bad 2 weeks prior. So at that time, as everybody knows, I own this coffee shop, and we were remodeling. And we had been down here working, and Whitney, my youngest sister, called. We were fixing to leave here, and she said, no, actually, we had left. We had went up the road to eat supper. And I pulled in the parking lot, and she said, we've got to go find Tab. And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, she's called, she's mad, and now I can't get her to answer the phone. I don't know where she's at. So I took my husband and my son home, and we left. And at that time, she lived in Andersonville, Clinton area, and which is a good drive from here. So she rented from my cousin, and they all shared a driveway. They all lived right together. So we had went looking. We had drove around. We had called everybody because she was still at work. So we had called everybody that we knew to get a hold of, and none of them would help us. Mm. And what was so bad was all of them was part of her drug addiction. Mm-hmm. They were what got her started.
The ones I told you left me standing that night, didn't come up for me.
I mean, she's in the middle of Townsend at 10, 11 o'clock at night in the pitch dark, and she looks like a man, but she's truly a woman, and none of them tried to help her. And so when we called, the one specific that we knew she left with that morning, because her Jeep was at home, and he wanted to smart off. That didn't go very well. And that's one of those, I tell my husband all the time, I have those moments where, Jesus, I'll be right back. And I know that don't work that way, but that was one of those moments that I would have gladly went to jail over that night. So after that, there's a guy that we go to church with that came over there, and I guess one of the other flaggers, which was another woman, had picked her up. And so she said she would go with him. She wouldn't go with us. At this point, she was still high, but she was coming down. So, like, she was more sensible for a minute, and then she wasn't for a minute. And so I told her that I was going to come and get her, and she wanted no part of that. She wouldn't go with anybody but him. So he said, okay, that's fine. I'll come get you. Just tell me where to come to. And she told him to come to, like, their home plant of the company that she worked for. So he hung up the phone with her, and he said, you follow me. He said, I'll pick her up there, and there's a pilot right below there, and you sit and wait on me at that pilot. And when he went and picked her up, and he pulled in, and I was sitting there, and he rolled the window down, and she just threw her head back. And she shook her head, and I said, come on, you're going with me. And she said, no. I said, yeah, you're going to go with me, because we're going to go get you help. And she started crying instantly. And she said, there's no help for me. And I said, then you don't know my God.
Yeah.
Because he's brought me through way more than anything you're sitting here going through right now. And so she said, well, I need you to take me home and let me take a shower. I said, nope, you're not going home. Well, I need you to take me get some clothes. I said, we'll worry about that later. So I finally got her in the car with me. And I said, she had this little lunchbox thing that she carried around that had, anything you needed in it, she had in it. So I said,
it was a backpack. That's how big it was.
I had a backpack.
Yes.
Yeah.
I said, do you have anything on you? Because I was taking her, back prior to this, UT Hospital had a program that if you were on drugs, they would help you get help. So I had remembered when I worked in pharmacy, someone telling us about that. So that was my first stop. So, this is midnight. This is 12 o'clock at night on a Tuesday night. And so I said, do you have anything on you? I'm not going in here and, something flagging and all of us going to jail. And she was like, no, I swear. So I said, she said something on the way about, you just don't know how bad this stuff is, what I've done. And I said, do you understand what you've put in your body? And she said, no, and I don't want to know. And I said,
I never
sit
wanted
back
to know
here,
what
sister,
went in it.
because I want you to know what you've done. What you've done. You have to listen. We are all sinners. We all make mistakes every single day of our life, but you have to own those. Amen. And you have to take blame for anything that you do in life, and you need to know detail. She needed to know how this has affected our whole family. You know what I mean? So we had a lot of talks. So that we went to UT. Oh, they were great. Great. The only issue that I had with that is once we left there, the ball dropped. Nothing happened after that. But the people that night, I could never speak in it. They never judged her. They never looked at her different. Like, they sincerely wanted to get her help. But their hands were tied. I mean, they gave me some phone numbers. We sat there most of the night. I think they released us at like 4 a.m. But all this, I want to say, people think there's no help. We are from a small town. We're not in the city. We don't have a big bunch of money, we're to spend on this stuff. But I'm telling you, they released us around 4 o'clock. We got home around 5, and we went to sleep. By 8 o'clock that morning, I had done got a phone call needing her insurance info. They had done found her somewhere to go. That was God.
Amen.
I don't care what nobody says. That was God.
Without a doubt.
So I got her insurance info. I had conversation with the woman by noon, 1 o'clock. I mean, this was a done deal. And she said, I can't take her until Friday. This was Journey Pure was the name of it. It is totally Christian based, and I was going to drive her down on Friday. So Thursday, I called that woman back and I said, just to ease my mind, a lot of recovery places take you in and they put you on other drugs to get you off that drug.
Right.
Methadone, Suboxone, that type of stuff. I worked in pharmacy for years, and let me just tell you right now that stuff is as abused as the other stuff.
Nope.
So I called that woman back and I said, I want to know how this works. Like, I want to know every detail. I want to know physician. Like, I want to know everything. I'm not driving her to Murfreesboro for you to put her on something else. That's not how and she said, no, ma'am. We are 100% Christian faith-based. She said, this works off the Lord. She said, now we have, what was it? Like, they use stuff with animals, like equine therapy, stuff like that. But they did not take her down there and put her on anything at all whatsoever. It was 100% based off the Lord. So anybody at all that has an addiction, and it's not just drugs. Down there, they had houses like separated all over this massive farm. It was so beautiful. And it was men's houses and women's houses. She was one of the very few that was there for drug addiction. Most of those were there for alcohol. So, I mean, it's not just that. A friend of mine that went through CR, I will never forget her telling me she was there because of her husband. But she said, after I started going, I realized I had issues too. I've never took drugs in my life.
Yep.
But there's issues, like, the addiction doesn't just mean drugs. I mean, you can be addicted to so many things that there is help for anybody. I told y'all, we see people walking around here all the time that are homeless and that are on drugs so bad. And a lot of them don't want help, but a lot of them think that there isn't help. And there is. I mean, like I said, we went through this for, I think it was 24 years total, with a 10-year gap in there that she was clean. And I'll tell you right now that it was the Lord. But He showed me that He was going to take care of that. I didn't know how. My dad would always say, when you pray for something, you have to pray for God's will. And let me tell you right now that's one of the hardest things I ever had to do in life.
Amen.
Because I didn't know if God's will was to take her.
Yep.
Or to, whatever. And you hear of a lot of people, like, she never went to jail. Like, her story was so different. She never went to jail. She never had DUIs. She never, like, none of the stuff. With the meth, a lot of meth users have the sores and she never had none of that stuff. And I believe that was the Lord. I mean, because there was so many things that I saw from other meth users that I never saw with her. And so many, I believe that God spared her with so many things that could have happened that didn't.
100%.
Yeah. Same in my story.
Yeah. I mean, there's people that I've knew most of my life that were on drugs really bad and got clean and died like a year later because they started having seizures. Or, there's the after effects because, like, after she got clean, like, her body didn't know what to do. All she wanted to do was sleep because her body hadn't had to depend on itself for so long. Like, she didn't know what to do with herself. So, I opened this coffee shop July the 27th of 2022. And I had all my workers, I had hired girls, all this. She had just got out of rehab. And there was a girl that I hired that worked here for 3 days. And I know people think coffee shop has to be boring, but you just have no idea. No idea how busy it gets because we do a lot of food and stuff too. So that little girl worked for me for 3 days. Love her dearly. And she called me one evening and she said, I just don't think I can do it anymore. And I said, that's fine. No hard feelings. I mean, God ain't going to leave me hanging. He brought me here, so it's fine. So as soon as I hung up the phone with her, God said, call Tab. And I was like, I'd love for Tab to work for me, but I knew there was no way I could pay her what she was making at her previous job. So I called her and I said, you want a job? And she said, laughed, and she said, yes. She didn't even ask. I could have been going to hire her to dig holes in the back parking lot.
I just prayed that morning.
She did. She said, I'm telling you, I am sitting here. She was living with my mom at the time, and she said, I am sitting here on the porch. And I just prayed to God this morning for him to put me wherever he wanted, wherever he needed me to. and I'll be the first to admit that we have been in business since then, but I couldn't do this without her. God sent her to me, 100%. But
because look, coffee shop wasn't in my.
We don't drink. We don't like coffee.
Yeah.
No.
I went
Jesus
from
has
paving to a coffee shop.
You got blue collar.
Yeah.
To a coffee shop.
Yeah.
That's a big transformation.
Yeah, a big one.
So the day that we went, it was Cinco de Mayo. It was May the 5th. I will never forget. And I drove her to Murfreesboro. And on the way down there, we were supposed to be there by a certain time, and she said, you've got to stop and let me eat Mexican one last time. Like she was going to death. So I had to message this woman and say, I'm really sorry, we're going to be late,
I said, I ain't going to get it for 30 days.
Have her last supper.
Yes. I was like, you're not dying. You're getting out in 30 days.
Yeah.
It's 30 days, not 30 years.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
But when we got there, gosh, that was one of the hardest things that I ever had to do. Was leave her standing there and know that I was going back home so far away. Because all I kept thinking was, in my mind, I've been her protector all this time. Our other family was too. But I've been right there. So when I had to leave, it started pouring the rain. And I looked in my rearview mirror and she was watching me pull out. And it was like leaving one of your kids, And I started praying. Lord, I prayed so hard. Me and Tab's never done well with separation. We've vacationed together like we've never just really been apart. And I was coming back down the interstate and it was raining so hard. And I was praying and my phone rang. And it was my stepmom. And she talked to me all the way back till I pulled in my driveway. I don't even know what time it was. It was late. But she encouraged me the whole way. She had lived it. Obviously, Tab still lived at home. And I don't even know that she knew that I was taking her that day. But God made that phone ring. And all the way home, before I left, I heard her say, "You have to tell me when she's made it home, okay?" So when I got there, I let that woman know that I had made it home. And I swear that was the best night's sleep that I had got. And I could not tell you how long. Because I knew she was safe.
Yep.
And I made sure she was good before I left. She had to have a fan. She's come all the way down here and didn't have a fan. So I've had to go find a dollar store to buy her a fan so she could sleep that night. But they were going to put her in, I don't remember what they called it. Like she had to go kind of confinement. She had to stay by herself.
And then I had a
detox
blackout period
for so long. So it was so hard leaving her. And then I wasn't going to hear from her for like, I think 4 days. And then she called a day early. And I said, "Is something wrong?" And she said, "No." And that woman told me, she said, she's doing so well. She's actually been able to come out of detox a day early. Like,
Nothing but God.
it was God, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Like, they were blown away. Like, they told me when I dropped her off that day, and we were doing paperwork and stuff, and I said, "How long is the normal?" And she said, "She'll be here at least 32 days. Could be longer, could be, shorter, but most people don't ever leave less than 32 days. And they called me at 29 and said, "You can come get her."
So
And that woman told me, she said, "I'm
So
telling you that I have done this for years, and it's very rare that we ever see anyone do as well as she did." But it was God 100%.
without a doubt.
But I think she was just sick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tired of being tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really. Like, she was just, it was a constant looking for money. It was a constant, how can I get my next fix? It was just something, like, her mind could never just rest.
Nope. It won't allow it.
No.
repetitive cycle, just over and over and over. I mean, y'all know.
Yeah. Definition of insanity.
Yeah.
Repeating the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Trying to do it without the Lord, because how many times have we ever succeeded when we try to do things without Him?
It's hit
Make
and
a
miss.
mess.
I mean, because that's what I'd always take what I learned from a meeting and what I'd get from the Bible and try to conform those into Michael's ultimate plan. So I was like, if I can keep the Lord on my side and take what little bit of knowledge I'm getting from these meetings, I can learn how to be a functioning drug addict. And
Yep.
I failed and failed and failed till I finally come to that surrender of, like, I'm tired of fighting. Like, I'm tired of trying to do it for my wife. I don't want to do it for everybody else. Like, I'm tired.
I'm
like,
tired.
I don't want to do it no more.
And
God,
then
take
when you get to that point, it's like,
what a
peace,
relief.
Yeah.
That, yeah. I mean, because, like I said, that long bus ride that I had to Michigan was so horrible. But then once I finally was situated and in, I could finally rest, and I'm sure my wife felt the same way that first night. Like, when she got that call that I'd touched down, I'm like, finally, I can go to sleep tonight, you know? So
we don't realize what we put our family through during it. I mean, you just don't. Because it's all about you and making sure you're not sick.
Well, you're just so consumed in you that you don't look out. Like, that's the one thing that it did to me. It made me so self-consumed with that. How am I going to get this? How am I going to get this? What am I going to do for that? Oh, no, I'm getting sick. What am I going to do? And another
Somebody's
thing,
going to notice something.
Yeah.
I'm
Sure, yeah. And then meanwhile, trying to hide this
Exactly.
from everybody at the same
Exactly.
started, and you got to remember that other lie to build back on that one.
Oh,
Keep
gosh,
that
it was-
story going, like.
And right
Like,
now,
my kids would ask, "What's wrong with her?" Well, I wasn't going to just come out and say, "Oh, well, she's on drugs,"
Yeah.
now
because you don't want them to know.
Yeah, you don't want them to
Yeah.
teach.
I mean, as they got older, you know, I did explain to them the lifestyle that she lived. You know, we had a heart to heart about just the drugs, just everything. But the people don't see the aftermath, or, you know, this is the other side of addiction, you know, from a family standpoint. But there's just so many things, you know, especially when you have kids. I would always tell Tab, when I have to set my kids down and tell them about your lifestyle, you're going to be there. Because you're going to explain to them why you think it's okay to live this way. And she'd say, but it's not okay. Then why are you doing it? You know, the same with the drugs. Then why are you doing it? I mean, if you know that it's not okay. So I asked her one time, because, listen, I am a mother and love my kids wholeheartedly, but Tab loves my kids as much as I do. And I asked her one time, I said, what if this was them? What if you were going through this with my kid? Don't say that. It's possible. I mean, it's possible. She was buying from family members. You know, they weren't concerned with it. The people that are selling are not concerned. They're just there for the money. They don't care who you are.
Yep.
So after all this, I called her company that she worked for. Listen, I was going to the job site. I mean, my husband said they'll kill you. I said they'll have it to do. I want those men to know how they've destroyed our family. What they've done for a $20 bill. They've destroyed our family. So I called the office, and there was one woman that I'm telling you was a godsend. She truly cared for Tab, and she wanted to help her. She wanted to see her succeed in this, and she had no idea of anything. So I let her know. I gave her names. I let her know what I knew. Tab wouldn't tell me nobody or nothing, but I knew.
Because you know how it is. You're like,
yeah,
you know, you rat on somebody.
Right, I can't say nothing. I'm not going to point you out.
She would never
They
tell
might
me.
kill you,
But
know,
it's one of those things again where she didn't have to. So I called, and that woman was like just blown away. So she called me back. She had talked to someone else in the company. They were going to take care of this, blah, blah, blah. 2 weeks later, that woman lost her job. Mm-hmm. Told her that they didn't need her no more. She'd been with this company for years. Yeah. So not everybody wants to help you.
No.
I mean,
At that particular place and at that time, you know, big companies, and that kind of work, it's about filling a spot.
Yeah.
It's who you can
can't
put in
afford
that.
to lose that many men at that time, because I've got to have this job done 6 months ago, and this job's already going. So,
And we can't do without
it's
one or
easier
two.
to get rid of one that's nobody's going to notice.
Yep.
there's very few companies that'll even drug test nowadays because it's become such a natural, you know.
Especially in the hard industry.
It is.
In the construction side, yeah.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just hard. But I will tell anybody, there's help. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you have. We didn't have to go pay out a bunch of money. She had insurance. And if you don't have insurance, they'll hook you up. Mm-hmm. I mean, they will make sure those people, honest to goodness, went to no end to try to help me help her.
And you know, too, I was just saying the other day that, you know, I sat out there that morning and prayed for the Lord to just put me wherever. That I didn't need to make no great big amount of money. I just wanted to be okay. And he sent me here. And I told somebody the other day, I don't think I could work another job. Like, because she knows all that I've went through. You know, if I have times that I get overwhelmed and need to step out, or she gets all that. And it's in my best interest for her. But big companies now wouldn't understand, you know, all that I've been through and all, you know, because even when you're clean, every day's a struggle.
Yeah.
You have to live with what you've done to yourself during that time that you're facing sober now. So I don't know that I don't know that. I mean, he just sent me here all the way around. because she needed somebody, and I guess he knowed that I wouldn't, do good at another
you look
place
And
like
this is
that.
the perfect. What better spot than a coffee shop for you to be in here, mingling with other people and getting to share the light and the joy
Exactly.
of the story that has come from a mess to an amazing message.
Oh, I'm not
What better
ashamed one
place
bit
for God
about
to
it.
put you? He's like, you know what? I'm gonna put you in a coffee shop and let you talk to people today. You know, like, and that's
Yeah,
it.
and I do it
People
all the
come
time.
in here for her. Yeah. And God had this in the working for years. She had another profession. I was a pharmacy tech. I've worked in pharmacy most of my adult life. I don't like coffee. I hate it. I don't like tea.
She doesn't.
I hate it.
She can't tell you what.
But God knew, what we needed down the road for the future. I could tell you the story of how this place came about. That would blow your mind. But God had this in the works all this time because He knew she was going to need to be here. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you the people that she's been able to tell her story to, that she has reached out, that it was like blown away. Some of those even were drug addicts. Mm-hmm. And you could kind of see it on them, like, wow, there really is help.
It gives a little bit of a glimmer of a hope.
Somebody made it out.
Somebody that I knew that I was in the trenches with, and they made it out. I'm like,
24
there
years.
might be a possibility.
Yeah.
Like, I think I might be able to do this.
Exactly. Yeah. And some of them's just been there, just a few years or, and it don't matter how you got there. My husband tells my son all the time, you're one decision away from a totally different life.
You're always one bad decision
from a totally different life. I'll never forget when my daughter was in middle school, they had that, they used to do that, I forget what they called it, but it was like the drug thing, Dare. And the officer that did hers that specific year, he came in, she came home and she was just so blown away. The example he used was, how many of you like ice cream? Most everybody likes ice cream. She said almost the whole gym raised their hand. And he said, how many times did you have to eat that ice cream before you realized you like it? One bite. That was all it took.
Yeah.
And it's the same with drugs. One time. She had kind of mingled in meth once before, and it scared her. It flipped her out a little bit. So we thought maybe she won't go back to it. But then she was working such long hours that her body couldn't keep up. So,
fell in place at the right time.
Yep.
Someone on the job site was like, here's you something that'll help you.
That's pretty much what happened to me, too.
Yeah.
That's how it always goes. That
Always.
line is like, it's always got that one. It's like, hey, got something to help you keep going a little bit more. Get this job going a little further.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something, too, that I've noticed is through these different perspectives, every single success story has had somebody in the background praying for them the whole time.
You sure took that what I was
So,
wanting. Thank you.
Like, how important, especially, it seems like you got to get to the point of, I can't even pray about it no more, you know what I mean? And then that's when the breakthrough.
Listen, I've been in positions I couldn't pray.
She said she had to change her prayer.
So I want to encourage people, if you are that person for somebody, don't stop.
No.
Don't stop, because there's 3 examples right here of someone else's prayer.
Come talk to me. Listen.
Yeah, same with us.
Yeah, I want to definitely
come to my
commend
coffee
you for,
shop.
Listen, never stopping, never.
I'm telling
wavering,
you, like I would have went to the ends of the earth.
That's what saves lives. Is that
I've
one praying, never wavering person.
The best church family in this entire world. That over half that church had never laid eyes on her, never met her, but they prayed for her. Mm-hmm. And when she come out of rehab, she come in and they took her right in and loved her. Never asked no questions. She came in dressed just like it. Blue jeans, a t-shirt. They didn't care. They loved her.
Yeah, it's not
and
that, matter what you look
that's
like.
what makes
That's
the difference.
It is.
The love.
It does not matter. We don't care what you look like, what you're dressed like. We don't care.
That's where you separate.
The Lord loves you regardless.
And the relationship.
Exactly.
Because when you meet people that have a true relationship, you don't feel the judgment.
Exactly.
Or the traditions.
Exactly. There's no tradition. There's no.
There's no hypocrisy. I don't feel like if I tell you something, you're telling that about me as soon as I walk out the door.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're
not in a routine. You don't come in and you do this, this. We come in and let the Lord take hold.
Best thing. There's a lot of churches ain't like that now.
And not everybody has praying family. It don't just have to be your family.
That's it. Like,
I mean, if you need help, come see me. Listen, I'll pray for you. I don't have to know you. I don't have to know your story. It does not matter to me. I will love you and I will pray for you regardless of whatever. And it may not be an addiction. You may just be going through something bad in life, you know. But
We got a box up here. I don't know if y'all saw it. For people that if they need prayer to write it down, only she will see it.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
you can do it anonymous, whatever. Listen, 7735 Rutledge Pike in Rutledge, Tennessee. Come see me. Monday through Friday, 7 to 5. We're on Facebook. Send me a message. I mean, seriously, like,
It's that time.
I mean, it just
It's that time. We gotta
is.
go after them now.
We do.
Yeah.
If you read your Bible any at all, listen, this world's coming to an end.
Yep.
I mean, it's happening sooner than you can go through, and there's so many things in the back of that book that's happening now. You may not have tomorrow. I mean, and let me tell you, give your family some rest. I'm telling you right now, give yourself some rest.
Yep.
Give your family, the people that you love, some rest.
Amen.
Because until you leave it with the Lord, there's not any.
Yep.
There's not at all.
Yep.
Well, I definitely want to commend you again for never wavering. Like, to have that genuine loyalty of love and commitment is unrecognized and unpraised regularly on the other aspect of a recovering person. And I don't think that the family members and the people that prayed for us and fought for us through the whole time get enough recognition.
Right.
So I want to recognize you and say thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to everybody else out there that's been that never stop praying person when you just don't know whatever to pray for again. So thank you. Don't stop praying for those people, because there is hope. There is a promise. That's
Yeah.
proof.
If you don't have a relationship with God, get one.
Amen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, do you got anything? I'm sure you've never just sat in while somebody talked about you for 45 minutes. So.
No, but I always tell people, if I can tell you the addict side, but if you want to know the other side of it, go talk to Beck. I say it all the time.
She did.
And there's times that she'll say stuff that I'm like, did I really do that? Or that it just hits you like what
really
you
did
actually
that.
did.
Yeah,
to them.
I really
it's
did
different
that.
coming from that other perspective.
Yes.
Especially somebody close that loves you, that knows.
Yes.
You know, that knows. You can't
You know,
lie to
'cause-
them.
I mean, listen,
And it's
I
the same
was.
way. It's very hard for you to get a lie by me these days.
I mean, that's it.
And that, he was talking about that instant. I'll never forget, like, coming out of rehab, that when I prayed and it was one of them, bam, instantly, and I was like, we're back, boys. You know what I mean? So,
I'll be the first
There was
now to
times
tell
that
on
I'm
myself
telling you
for
I
anything.
could choke her, and I don't believe I would have felt bad about it. But you know,
she'd have probably whooped you back
Yeah.
then. No.
I would have, yeah.
you know,
I
but
would
you
have been forced to reckon with then.
after so long, you know, I don't know. I've never been a drug addict, but you know, she thought that her lies that I was believing.
Yeah.
All that, you know, in her
That's what the
mind.
enemy, the
this stuff
enemy's
was
in
work-
her. yeah.
exactly.
We thought that
He's
we
in
had
her
y'all
saying, you
all
got him tricked.
Exactly.
You got him tricked. Keep
So
going.
after I picked her up, I did not let her out of my sight. That was on a Tuesday night, and I made her stay at my house. She used every excuse, so I went and bought her clothes. So Wednesday night we had church. She didn't want to go. I totally understand that. She was going through the withdrawals, the whole stuff. So I called my mom and I said, "Will you come over here and sit with her while we go to church?" That was the only time I left her. But let me tell you, we had some conversations about, you know, just taking accountability. Let me tell you what we've went through, you know. That way, if this ever crosses your mind again, but then she had stories too, you know. She said, "I'll be the first to tell you, I ripped every one of you off. I mean, you know, I did things I shouldn't have done. I lied, like, you know." And I think that helps a lot too.
Yes.
Get that stuff
You
out.
have to. I mean, if you're wanting to find healing, you got to admit.
Yeah.
You know, as a teenager, you
that's
do
the
stuff.
First, you know, like
Yeah.
that's the first couple of
We
steps.
We just had
is-
that conversation, and
Yeah.
I told
Yes.
you if this somebody didn't want, you know, their past, somebody to find out about it. And I said, if you're truly sincere about changing your life, you'll say,
Own
yeah,
it.
you know, this is what happened. This
Yeah,
is,
I done
you know.
this, and that.
Yeah.
Am I proud of it? Absolutely not.
But it's
The
there.
God that I serve says that my charges have been dropped.
And
I'm
your
no
thoughts
longer-
don't matter to me.
Right.
Right.
So I'm
Yeah.
free.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing is, if you do take the power away from it by you being the one, I'm gonna put it out there that way.
That's
that
it.
He can't tell on me. God really honors that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think
That's what she said when I go to the doctor now. You know, used to, at first, I would tell her, just put down codeine as an allergy, and they won't even offer you. But she said, now I don't. I mean, I just tell them.
I tell
Yeah.
them.
I mean, this is life. This is what it was.
That's
you
part
know.
of change. You gotta
have
you gotta
to.
have accountability.
Yeah.
If
Yep.
you're sincere about changing.
even when you're alone.
Yeah.
Yep. You have to.
Yep.
Okay, well, I really appreciate you guys being on here with us. We've been trying to do this for a while, but
know.
them holidays make it rough.
They do.
Yeah.
But
They do.
yeah, I really appreciate your perspective, and
Yeah.
you know, I love these because we don't always, especially I'm a first person view of this.
Right.
So when I hear this is making me think about what did I do? You know, who was the ones that's not told me what I
Right.
done to them, and
Yeah.
so I get to sit back and think about that part too. And
Yeah.
that's how we heal all of
Oh,
us. You
definitely.
know,
Oh, yeah.
is just one little piece at a time. a little
And if
over
you're a
here.
family member and you're going through this, and maybe the world knows, maybe they don't, it don't matter, and you have questions, or if I can do anything in this world to help you, reach out to me.
Please do.
I mean, I am willing.
Thank you for being that open.
I
vessel.
mean, seriously, I am, because I know the other side of addiction. It's hard. I'm telling you, it's hard.
All right. Well, guys, we appreciate you being with us.
Yep, without a
You
doubt.
got anything else, Michael?
I don't think so.
All
Another
right.
great show. Look forward to see y'all again next week.
Yep. See you next week.